Hey guys, welcome to Voice in Hollow. My name is Miguel Ortega, and this is my co-host.
Hello, Tran Ma.
Uh, so yeah, what we're doing is we're doing a weekly journal documenting the entire process of making a short film from beginning to end, entirely in Unreal 5, which is, for those that know, just a couple of weeks old, maybe a month old at this point. So yeah, that's what we're doing. We're at the lighting stage of things. So if you're into lighting, this is going to be for you. This is a shot that we started working on last week, and we just basically did the camera, all the lighting, just live. Um, the only thing we weren't able to do is I didn't have the final clothing sim at the time. So now has the clothing simulated, the Tran put together, and the animation was cleaned up by our friend Christian, who was a former student at Gnomon. So the motion capture system that we're using, XSense, it's really great, but it's an inertia-based mocap system. And one of the things that it's not good at is contact. I don't even know how to phrase it, but it's almost like if you wanted to do this, it would be very difficult to do. But if you wanted him to do like a backflip, it would look fantastic. But just connecting 2 points at the exact same position, it is very difficult. So when it does something like this, where she's crossing her arms and holding onto her arms, it doesn't seem to know where it's at. So it'll do it, but it like interpenetrates really weird. So you have to do some cleanup. And Christian has been great in helping us with that. So yeah, so what do we have here? We have this scene. Let me just show you guys. It's a big ceremony scene. Oh, let me just fix something. So we're having these double-sided shadow issues here. Enable two-sided geometry. Okay, so this is the scene. And this is like where one of the girls is getting initiated into the hunting party. And this entire thing was very fleshed out. So you could see you could rotate the camera pretty much anywhere, and there's something cool to look at. Some of these are actually, what's funny is sometimes we'll open the map and then the camera will just randomly be somewhere. We're like, oh, that's actually a pretty cool shot. But you can see even like back here, actually back there is like some of the coolest stuff. So everything is fleshed out, full 360. It's like a total video game ready environment if you wanted it to be. So, so where are we at? Let me just see. Let me open up Premiere and I'll show you guys what we have so far. So I'll show you just a few different camera angles. So you can see that's where she was sitting, or that is where she's sitting. More wide shot. I love this angle. So yeah, so let me open up Premiere and I'll show you what we have so far. And I'll show you some of the issues that I'm having, and we're gonna address them today. So none of this stuff is like pre-planned. What I'm doing, what we did last week, just ended up in the actual film. So this is not like a planned out tutorial. So there'll be a lot of mess ups here. So hopefully you guys can hear this. play one more time. Just go through it a little. So this is the entrance area. So this is the far back. You can see we're still having some issues with like well, I guess it is anti-aliasing issues in the depth of field, which we have to resolve. These guys will all be wearing these leopard masks, which are in one of the next shots. But the idea is that everyone here has a leopard mask on, except for our two girls, and one of them is receiving her mask that day, which is this one. These are the leopard masks. So right now they're all exactly the same. Tran is making some variations of them, but the idea is that they're all different guys and they're all wearing different masks. We have some women as well. This is a shot that we worked on last week as well. I like it, but I want to do something in the background here. It's very boring, and this whole sequence just has too much cool stuff to have a boring background like this, so we'll probably address that today. So I really like how this shot turned out. Probably want to put the suggestion of people back here. I want them to be out of focus though, because I want it to be all about her. Pretty happy with the way the face stuff worked out. So that's all with the Mocap X. So that's me acting there. So this is a problem that we're also having here with the fire. Looks great and unreal, but when we're rendering it, we're getting this like really harsh, ugly line here. Need to figure out what that is. You can see that I thought it was the attenuation radius. We've brought it up and it's still there. So something is going on. I just need to figure that out. This, of course, doesn't have any of the crowds yet. So maybe I'm going to populate this. This will probably be what I'll do right now. I'll just start populating this with some of the extras. I think that'll be pretty good. Okay. Up on the top here, this pedestal, there'll be a priest. Got this really ornate, crazy outfit. Give me 1 second. And yeah. So let's get going. So probably I'm going to grab these guys from this shot. Let me put this back over here. I'll grab these guys from this shot, and then we'll start populating them around. So if you notice, they all have different paint on their body. It's the same body, but we just have different shaders on it, and the shader is going to give us a lot of control. We could actually change the colors. So we'll be able to make some variations there. So let's do that. So I'll just jump into Unreal. And let's go into our sequences. And I'm going to go to let's see which one we should do. Here it is. Just give it a second. All right, there it goes. So you can see here the fire looks great. You have a nice fall off, but in Premiere, we're getting this really ugly, harsh line. Not sure what the hell that is, but it's pretty bad. Compare that to that. This looks great. Might be some sort of exposure issue. now that I look at it, but it's still a little bit weird. Okay, so this part we're not seeing, so we've got to put some of the extras in here and up on the top here. I wish I had some more extras kneeling. I have to check if I did any mocap of myself doing that. So all the extras, all the movement, that's just, I did the motion capture on myself. So it's this right here. Let's give it a second. And all the mocap is with accents, a window. So there you go. So you can see they all have a little bit of life to them, which is pretty cool. And that's just like a 700 frame sequence that I'm like offsetting the animation track so that they all move slightly different. It's pretty cool. So, all right, so let's go back to that other shot and let's pop them in there. Okay, so I want them right by the fire right here. So I'll just go into my Alembic mask sequence, and here they are. Let's just grab them and pop them in there. So their pivot is weird, so I want to fix that real quick. So let's just address that, because this will drive us crazy. So hold down Alt, middle mouse, and let's just place this right by the feet. And we'll go to our pivot, set as pivot offset. So they don't have any clothing at the moment, and that's intentional because everything has to be simulated, and we are not doing the cloth sims in Unreal. Okay, so that looks good. So now we just have to put the shader on his face, on the mask, I mean. So let's just go find that. So that's under extras, extra texture, a la mask. There you go. Okay, so let's just grab him, bring him back there, duck him in. Let's shift him over. Scale this guy up a little bit. Okay. So right now they of course look like they're exactly the same because they are. Let's bring this down. Okay. So I'm just going to go into my my materials for a second. And we'll select this guy and toss in some new shaders. So you can see now they all look like they're slightly different. Okay, let's grab these three guys. And I'm going to drag them into my outliner from my outliner into my sequencer. I'll convert them to spawnable. We'll go to the beginning of our sequence. Animation, animation, animation. Okay, so you can see that's the entire animation section. So I'm just going to offset these guys. Thank you, Ahmed. Shift this back over here. And now you can see that they're all moving slightly. So I don't want that big step that they do to be too noticeable. So I'm going to offset them off even more. Put this over here. I could also change the speed on some of these. So I'll set the play rate to like 0.9. So some of them just move a little bit slower. All right, so let's take a look. Let's take a look at it from the camera because that's the only thing that really matters. So that's pretty good. So let's grab this guy, shift him over here. We have some women also, which we're going to use. But right now, I'm just going to use the guys for now. I'll push this guy in so they're not all at the exact same level. Okay, let's throw a different material on this guy. So this guy, and this guy. Let's drag them into our sequencer. Same thing, we go back to frame 1. Animation, and we link up the animation. I love how simple it is to do this. It's pretty incredible. Push this one out all the way. I don't want them to be that noticeable. I want you to feel that they're there, but not necessarily have them like stand out like a football fan or something. So it'd be nice to have one guy over here. We could do that. And then of course we have to put the guys in the top. So let's do the guys in the top first. We'll grab some of these guys here. I don't want them to get in the way of Allah. Sorry, of Koa. So I'm going to be very careful where I place them. I also don't want them to block the torches. Let's push some of them back a little bit. So you can see that guy's blocking a torch. Let's just shift him over here. So let's grab all of those guys. drag them into our sequencer, animation, 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 animation. Okay, and then we just offset this. Okay, so you can see all of them have something different. This guy here doesn't have anything, so let's connect it. Connect it. Connect it. Let's take a look. So right now the animation looks all pretty similar, even though it is slightly different. So we are going to have to do some variations of that. So let's do that. I'm going to just save this guy for now. Give me 1 second. Let's just take a look at it in the edit again. Okay, so let's keep going. So it looks good. I always check the edit just for any sort of issues that might pop up. All right, so I'm going to minimize this guy. First, let's open up our Maya, and I'll just set a single pane here. Just give me a minute. All right, so I'll minimize my Unreal since this is going to kill the performance. I'm going to close Premiere for now. And let's just get going here. So this one is going to be a completely different animation, one we haven't done yet. So this will be, I'm going to look for my rigs, father rig. Actually, I'm going to just use the extras rig, male extras. There we go. And let's see what we have. Wait, what just happened here? There we go. All right, so this is generic extra. So I'm going to pull up some motion capture here. So I'll go to my reference editor, create reference, and I'll go into the motion capture that I captured. This stuff I captured just at home, literally just right a few feet from where I am right now. So I need to see what I have here. So let's just see this. I actually don't even remember what I have, so this might look great or it might look terrible. Because this is just walking. Which I'm kind of okay with just a couple of generic walking cycles like this. Let's just take a look at it here. Okay, so let's see how much more frames we have here. So let's go to 2000 frames. So some of this stuff here I really like. Hands are moving a lot, maybe too much. And then that's me actually going to turn off the mocap. So let's say up to 1050. That looks good. And maybe from frame 400 forward. Problem is it's cool, it's different, but it's still pretty similar. But that's okay. Let's just do this one. So his nose looks really busted there, so I need to see what's going on with that. He's going to be wearing a mask, so I'm not so worried. Yeah, I'm not even going to worry about that. So I'm going to just bake this out. So I'll just go to bake to custom rig, and that should bake the animation onto the model. We'll have to fix the hands. You can see the thumb in particular is just really messed up looking. So we'll fix that real quick. Okay. So now I don't need that reference, so I'm going to unload it. I should just probably get rid of it. So let's just go to remove reference. Okay, so that should speed things up a little bit. All right, cool. So hands. Let's address those hands. So let's go to show curves. I'll just select those guys. Select these guys. And what I'll probably do I'm just going to delete the animation on the hands. I think they're just a little bit too distracting, too much movement. So there you go. Now they shouldn't be moving at all. So I'll just go into my studio library tools. And I have a bunch of saved hands. So I'm just going to go with that. Okay, add a keyframe there. Come over here. Let's open it up just a little bit. Open it up just a little bit here. Didn't apply itself. Let's just close that up. This is just to give the hands a little bit of life. Let's add a little bit to the other one. Okay. Cool. So now we have that. That one leg looks a little bit funky. It might be okay because we might not see the foot contact, but just something to watch out for. Let's go to our shapes here and figure out why that nose looks messed up. Oh, okay, I see. That is actually how the the nose looks. So we'll just go with this guy. These are just all variations. They're not the prettiest, but they're good. So right now I'm just paying attention to this arm here. I just want to make sure that they don't interpenetrate. I just put both of these guys on an animation layer. This guy's acting weird when I'm trying to rotate him. There we go. All right, so that is our extra head. You know what? I'm just going to go with this kind of more generic father shape. All right, and I'll import the mask. Give me 1 second. So let's get that mask. There it is. I probably should have done this before I put the mocap, but whatever. I'm going to center this pivot. Just object. Scale this down. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Now we just have to parent it. make sure it doesn't interpenetrate. So I just select that and that. I'll just go to parent. And that should stick on. And we did 450. This motion capture is really weird. I think this was when I was like debugging the system, like just checking things. I'm like walking on one leg or whatever. So I'm not that crazy about this motion, to be honest. But since we're this far along, let's just pump it out anyway. Okay, so now at this point, if I wanted to bring this in, I could just go over here, hide the curves, select the model. I'm not going to bring in the clothing because that would be simulated later. If I exported it like this, for some reason, that mask is not going to be included. I would have thought it would, but it's not going to be included because it's just parented. So what I have to do is just duplicate it again. It's kind of annoying. And I'm going to just put it outside of my group. So something like this. And just basically parent constrain it back to the original copy. So it's this one, parent constraint to that. So you can see if I try to move right now, let's see, we're at frame 970. That's not going to stick anymore. But if I go to animation constraint parent, that should work. And then all I have to do is select that guy that is not parent constraint and bake the keys. This is going to be a pretty big sequence. I might have to even be a little bit more selective than that because I don't want to bring in, when I bring in like a 600 frame cache, it tends to crap out. So I rather try to keep it in like 350, 400 frame kind of ranges. So let's see, we have a few messages here. So we have Mubiru, hello, and Donkey Show. Miguel and Tran, I hope you're well. Thank you guys so much. All right, so there we go. So now we have that. So now let's select this again. And I'm going to delete one of them. Okay, so pain in the butt, but that's the only way that this thing outputs correctly. Something is up with that leg, but okay. I might not even use this one, but I just wanted to show you guys. Okay, so now here, cache, Alembic cache, export selection to Alembic. I don't want 600 frames, like I said. So let's actually look at what areas we might use. I don't like that leg moving around so much. Let me just really take a look at this and see. Okay, so I think this section here works pretty well. So 700. He's got his little superhero pose. He does the shift. He looks like he has to go to the bathroom. Okay, so let's do that part. Deselect this, deselect this, export selection. Shots, ceremony. And I'll just call this test B. So that's now exporting out. Probably not a bad idea to do one of the women as well. I just want to see if I have another motion, maybe of the guy sitting down or something. Okay. All right, so that's that. I'm going to save this out. So I'll just call this number 2. So let's take a look at another one and see if we could get something else. So let's go to our father rig. Takes a minute. So while that's doing that, let's just take a look at this just in case someone is hopping in. So we're just adding a crowd here, and we're just trying to get some variation on the crowd so they don't all look too similar. I think the biggest thing is going to be in the actual posture and the animation. We have enough shader variations and texture variations to make them all look different, but right now they're all standing exactly the same, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Okay, so let's bring this guy back in here, and I'm going to check another one of my animation files. So let's go to our reference editor. Let's see what we can find. So just go to my motion capture file. Let me see what else I captured for. So this was generic. Drummer, I think I only did one. So that was number 1. Let's try version 22. We'll go to our HIK rig. You can see it looks like he's doing ballet. So something is up with that file. So let's just take a quick look at it and see. So let's just open this up. Because as cool as a ballet scene would be in that, or ballet breakout would be, it's not what I want. So let's just take a look and see. So it's just a generic walk. You can see it's definitely not anything like what we have there. The arms are not all messed up. So let's just double check that and see why that's doing that. Save it out again. Open up the father again. This happens often when you're dealing with some of the mocaps. Sometimes I just have to reassign the HIK preset to it, and then all of a sudden it works. So just bear with me. So let's go to a reference editor again. You see, and now it works fine. So this is just like a walking cycle. It's not a lot of frames. I kind of like this though, like walking forward and stopping. I like that a lot. So let's just keep it up until 173. Great. And may as well do the whole thing. Okay, let's go to frame 0. It's over here. Let's grab that mask again. Okay. Place it. I'm going to center my pivot. And I should, of course, have like I should just have a version where with this is already set up. But again, we're doing this like live. We're not, I'm not making this, I'm not making a tutorial from scratch. We are literally just working in real time. So no pre-planning here. As you can see, the nose looks a little messed up. Pull this out. I'll select that, parent it. Perfect. So I really like this one. I think this could be really cool. Just to have a little bit of like walking into the shot. Very cool. So let's bake that out. Feet look good, hands look good. You have to fix the thumb, not a big deal. We'll open up our studio library. Select the hands, deselect everything else. We'll create animation layer. Fix those busted fingers. You know, when we bought the motion capture system, we got the Mocap gloves. I think the Mocap gloves probably something we could have gone without. I think they're cool. I'm glad we have them. But if you can't afford it, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think they're cool, but they seem to be the ones that give us the most problems, and a lot of it is probably my fault. But yeah. And let's go to the last frame. Let's just give this a little bit more life. Close this up. Okay. So let's get this guy into Unreal. Let's see. Okay, so I'll do this guy, constraint parent. Order was wrong. It's this guy, constraint. Okay. I'm going to bake that out, bake out the keys. Okay, perfect. So now I don't need this one. It's gone. And this walk I really like. So let's go to show NURBS curves, shading, wireframe unshaded. Let's take a look here. I wish he would just close his hand at the end. So let's just do that real quick. You can see how simple it is. Pretty awesome. And we'll just get rid of this here. Okay, awesome. So select this all, not selecting the clothing. That's going to be simulated. Let's save this. So it's my, let's call this 3 walk to stop. All right, let me see if anybody's written anything. Nope. If anybody has any questions, let me know. All right, so let's cache this out. So Alembic cache, export selection to Alembic. Time slider is fine. Frame 0 to 173. Perfect. UV right. Right face sets. That way we maintain the shaders. And I'm going to call this test C. I just call this walk to stop. Okay. So let's go back to Unreal. So this guy's such a primary guy up here that I'm gonna make him be the one that gets that is the walk-in. So let's just get rid of him. So we'll go to edit, delete. One thing I've noticed in Unreal 5 is when I just pressed, like if I select that object and I press delete on the keyboard, it tends to crap out and crash. It really wants you to right click on the model and then go to edit, delete. It still crashes sometimes when you do it that way, but when you press delete on the keyboard, usually one takes much longer and it crashes. So this is still taking a long time to delete, but I'm okay with that as long as it doesn't crash. And it still might crash, so it usually crashes right away. Okay, so he's gone. So let's go and import walk to stop. That's it. So these are our settings here. We want to bring everything in, skeletal mesh, merge meshes, skip empty frames, sampling type, base calculation type to no compression, rotate 90 degrees, and find materials. So let's let that come in. Just 1 second. Shahab, how's it going? So, yeah, so what we're doing, we're bringing in some animated characters in here, some crowd. So there it is. So let's pop that in there. So I'm just going to offset the pivot, put it right under the feet. I have a hard time with Unreal's pivot. We hate each other mutually. So place him right in there. Let's take a look at it from the camera. So funny. You think you have it totally right, and then you change the angle, and he's flying. So let's put him right there. Okay. I'll throw him into my sequencer. Go to frame 1. you can see he's walking way too far out. So we'll just tuck him in there like so. Let's play through it. See, now we have a little bit more life up there. Which is pretty cool. And then he's gone around here. So I think that works really well. What I'm actually going to do, since I like that so much, I'm just going to grab this guy and duplicate him over here. And let's just zoom in a little bit here. And let's get rid of this guy here. Put that guy in there instead. Push him forward a little bit, like so. Okay, let's drag him into our sequencer. Go to frame 1, animation, link the animation. You can see he looks like he's walking out way too far. So not a big deal. We'll just push him in. They're too similar, this guy and the one below. So we'll probably just use one of them. I could also just grab this guy, turn him on his side like this, right? That way he's less noticeable and just make him look like he's walking in the back here. That might work really well. So he doesn't care about the ceremony. He has to go pee. So let's take a look. Let's go to unlit. Okay. And let's take a look and see. Probably don't even see him, so I'm just gonna, I'll leave him for now. That's fine. All right, so the guy on the top looks good. He's moving around. Let's take a look. He steps into frame right around there. That's very nice. Let's make sure his mask has a proper shader on it, which I don't know if it does. It does not. So let's just throw that on there real quick. Okay, pretty cool. You could see a little bit of movement over here on the left here. It's not a lot, but you definitely feel this guy moving around, which is all I really care about. Okay. That's cool. I like this spot here. I feel like we could put a few more guys over there and over here as well. So I'm just going to duplicate this guy. Let's rotate him a little bit so he's paying more attention to her. Something like that. Let's drag him into our sequencer. Go to frame 1. So just a little bit more life in there. We're not going to see this part here. It's just from this point on. Let's grab this guy, duplicate him, and place him over here. Now that we moved the other one. So let's go to frame 1, animation. Put that in there. Shift it. And let's make sure that we change the shader. I'm going to pull this guy out a little bit. Bring him over to the side. And I'll just swap out the textures on it. Okay, so let's play that. This right here, let's get rid of it. So that's her kneeling. That's from another shot. So we have to set that to spawnable in the other shot, which we don't, which we'll do later. All right, so there's our crowd. Looks good. I'm going to save all. This usually takes a moment. Okay, and then we'll do a quick render of this to put in our edit, and we'll take a look and see how it's all looking. So it's this right here. So we'll put this in a folder called temp6. So I try to really organize my renders. I know that all of these are temporary, so I'm not going to get caught up with setting the anti-aliasing values or whatever to be too high. I want everything to be fairly low. Back in Maya, I'll close this up. We've already saved this. So I guess I just press save, but yeah, I want this closed. Okay, so that's saving over here, and Premiere will open that up in a second. So lots of things happening at once, so it's going a little slow. The fire's looking really realistic. Yeah, it looks really cool. That's from Action VFX. I love those guys. They do some amazing stuff. That's the one thing we bought from the marketplace. I'm subscribed to them for their Elements library for like live action stuff. I use it all the time, all the time. So it's Action VFX, and yeah, that was cool. Like they featured me on their website a few weeks ago, which is pretty cool of them. So okay, so just give me 1 second while this all saves and does its thing. For some reason, whenever I'm doing these streams, saving takes an eternity. The minute the stream is over, saving is really quick, but whenever I'm streaming, it's crazy slow. Oh, we are rendering, so that's another thing. Yeah. This is going to take a moment. So that's doing its thing. So has to render 200 frames. So you can see this is where the real time is not as real timey as you'd like. It takes a moment. Yeah, Devin, that bird pack is. I keep looking at it and thinking back. There was another student that was asking me how to do birds, and I remember when I showed you in looked at for demo reel class, and when I saw that bird pack, I'm like, Dan, I would have saved this a lot of time. So it's pretty awesome. The question is, do I use Action VFX stuff in Unreal or Post? Both. So they have one Unreal pack, which is this fire, which is actually giving me problems. So you'll see that there's a really ugly line that's appearing in the render here, but not inside of Unreal. You see that line right there? So I need to figure out what that is. It's not appearing in the actual viewport just when I render it. But that is everything integrated, their flipbook, their smoke, everything. That's one thing that I bought in Marketplace, but in terms of elements for live action stuff, I use that all the time as well, and I love that. So Devin says, yeah, I think I gave that student the birds I use. A student, like a new student, does the name start with the letter N? So Shahab says, I'm having a hard time linking my Niagara smoke to a train. I bring it into Unreal. I use the FBX. Any tip on how to link simulations to objects and tip? I mean, can't you just manually key it? Just key the emitter, even if you have to do it manually. I know that sucks, but that's what I would probably do if I was having a hard time. Just bring it into the sequencer, key the emitter's position. And Devin says regarding the trees, no, the student's name starts with a K. The problem is not a problem, just everyone needs birds in their scenes. So there's probably one with every letter of the alphabet that needs birds. So bird pack is a great idea from Action VFX. So I still don't have it, but I need to go and pick those up. All right, so that's done. So let's put that in the edit now and see what it looks like with the crowd. I got to do more variations. So I need to have some of the guys like duck down a little bit, maybe sitting on this ledge here, much more casual. Because right now they're all too similar, which I really like that in the close-up shot. But once you get into the wides, it looks less cool. So let's take a look at the edit one more time for this little section, and then we'll pop in the new shot. Well, let's just put the shot in while we're at it. So let's just go in here. So reveal in project, replace footage. So number 6. So this should have the crowd. Yes, it does. So let's just take a quick look at it. So it worked pretty well. So we have a few issues here. You can see I didn't remove the kneeling down character. It's the same character, but just from another shot, so she's still in there, which is for this shot here, just so you can see. So the reason why it's not connected is I need a shot in between here because this is kind of like a jump cut. You can see the angle is similar enough that it cuts really nasty. And the scale of the subject are very similar in the frame. So it just looks ugly. It doesn't cut together. So I need something in between. So I could like put a gap here for now. Go to black and then go to this. But I mean, that is the idea. That will be the next shot. Probably gonna put a shot of the priest. So the priest looks really freaking awesome looking. He's got this crazy mask and this big red gown. But let's take a look at this again. You know, it's subtle, but it makes a huge difference. The guy that walks in makes all the difference in the world because his movement is much bigger. I love that. I think that's great, especially once the clothing starts getting simmed. This guy that's walking across the background there, it's one of those things you don't see it, you feel it. You feel that there's some stuff going on back there. I want to get these guys here. One of them kneel down also. Another guy kneel down over here, and maybe some like with their arms crossed or something. I don't want them to look like they're bored though. She's the only one that should have her arms crossed because she doesn't want to be there. So let's play from the beginning. So this is a shot where I did put some of the extras back there, some of the crowd, and it looked terrible. I gotta see how to approach that because I placed them across this here, parallel to this wood plank, and they just looked really crappy. I might try to put them maybe this way, facing the front. But it looked so bad before that what I might end up doing is grabbing some of this decorative stuff from some of the other shots and put them in there. I love this shot. It feels very stop motion. Like I'll show you some of the shots that I actually really like, but that didn't make it. 'Cause there's a few. For this sequence alone. I think there's 3/4 is one of them. 3, 4. Let me see. How would I find this? This was one. This one I don't like it as much, but it's still interesting to see. You can see there's all this decorative stuff here. There's no reason why we should have this thing here look so boring when we have all that beautiful stuff. So I might just cheat it and shift it into frame here to get all of this nice stuff there, because I love how all that looks. So that was a shot I liked, but it didn't make it. Another one, I think I might have gotten rid of it. Yeah, I might have gotten rid of the other one. Was it this one? This is just a longer show. Yeah, originally I wanted her to stop and really connect with her here. I might still do something like this. This camera angle isn't working great, but I want to make sure that the tension between the two of them is reading clearly. That one we already saw, which is this. Oh, you can see on this one, the clothing just stays behind. It's funny. Actually makes me wonder if... Okay, it's not there. Okay. Shadows in the background for movement. What do you mean? So, Devin, shadows in the background for movement. You mean like adding some shadows so you can feel that there's a crowd there? Is that what you're asking or saying? That is a good idea, actually. That might work really well, like back lighting them and then having their shapes on the ground. That could work really well, actually. Because I don't want them in the shot. That's kind of the point. They just don't look that great. Like here, I love this. It looks like she's in some satanic ritual, which is great. But it just looked kind of creepy. Yeah, that could work. But when it was like a bunch of half naked guys standing right next to her, it just felt really creepy. They were too close to her. It looked wrong. But yeah, maybe the shadows. That is a good idea, because if I could have like the flickering light and have their shadows casting on this, it could work. So we could try that. Okay. So now we have to figure out. So this is the other big issue: is why the hell this is happening. You can see how it's just cutting out. It feels like it's overexposing. Like that fire just doesn't match what I'm getting in Unreal at all. I think it's just that. I think it's overexposing and clipping. Yeah, I think it's just that. So I need to figure that out. Okay, so we'll fix that. The other thing is, what do we do for the shot in between this and this? So we have this priest. I'll show you what he looks like. Let's just bring him into Unreal. He's not going to have all his materials and whatever, but let's get her to be only in her shot. So we'll go to content, sequences, ceremony. And I believe it is called... What did I call that? It's under Neil, but I don't have anything called Neil here. Huh. It might have been this one here. Yeah. So I need to rename this because this name is terrible. So let's name this. Okay. So this right here, we need to go in and convert to spawnable. That way, this animation only appears on this shot. Okay, so that's great. Now she won't be a distraction on the other shots. So let's go back up to this one, and you will see that she will now be gone. She's no longer kneeling there, which is great. Let's save everything. Okay. So let's get the priest in there. So I have a folder called priest, but I don't think I have anything in here yet. So let's just throw them in there. So this is under ceremony models, Shaman. There he is. Oh, wait. You just gave me the mask, Tran, not the whole thing.
For which one?
For the Shaman.
No, it's in the Maya file.
Oh, it's in the Maya file. Okay, cool. So let's just drag the Shaman out of the Maya file. So yeah, I definitely want this ceremony to feel really creepy and make people feel like anything could happen, like they're going to eat her alive or something. It's not nothing like that, but I like the idea of like creepy cults. I love that stuff. One of the things that I kept trying to do when we were designing this was like to try to have something that felt like show you it had the impact of the main set of our last film. Let me see if I can pull it up. This one here. And you can see there's a lot of similarities here. Even though they're completely different, they're still the center focus point. The shaman, which in this case is it's not a shaman, but it's this professor. And then you have the symmetry on both sides, or like the walkway rather than symmetry, with these two weird things. You obviously have the tusks here, which you have on both of these, and then you have the top of the railways here, filled with soldiers and people. Same thing that we're doing here. So it's exact same kind of vibe I wanted. I wanted something that when you saw it, you're like, oh, that's from this movie. Oh, that's from that movie. Something that felt more iconic. Dare I say iconic? I wish, you know what I mean. My attempt at iconic. So, same kind of thing. So let's get the shaman in there because you're only as good as your shaman. So let's grab so there he is, and let's open this guy. Okay. So there you can see this really weird looking dude with this crazy leopard devil mask. Pretty cool. So let's grab them and let's get them out of here. So we'll just select everything, file, export selection. I'll export them out as an FBX. So just give it a second. All right. So this guy will be right in the center there, looking all badass. So let's go. So Tran, right now the textures, they're for the clothing and the mask together.
No, they should be separate.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. So I need to create two materials. So let's grab the Shaman. This is just pretty static. It's FBX file. One of the things that drives me the most insane with Unreal, by the way, is the rotation order of stuff. When it's an FBX, you have to rotate it a certain way. When it's an Alembic file, you have to rotate it a different way. When it's an OBJ, you have to rotate it a different way. It gets rough to remember all this stuff. So the amount of time I waste, I should have like a post-it note or something on my monitor, but I remember right now. But if I stepped away from Unreal for a week, I'd forget everything. So all right, so we have that. Just give it 1 second. So I'm going to need this, this, and this. There's our creepy Shaman. Let's zoom in here.
Alexa.
See, our Alexa's going crazy. Let's put him in there. So we are going to have to do something about lighting him. I don't want him just silhouetted like this. So let's take a look and see how he lights at different points. So right here is about right. Let's look at it in the shot. You know what? I actually want him to be big and imposing, so I'm going to make him bigger. Probably should be. Why the hell not? He's a giant. Okay, so he is perfectly in the center there. So let's start putting the shaders on him. All right, so first let's put the shaders on him. All right, so I'm going to create something super simple. So for the body, I'll just throw the father's shader on there. So that should cover that. For the clothing, let's go to the priest. I'm just going to create two very simple materials. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So this is Shaman clothing. So let's grab these guys in here. We'll just toss them in there. And we could go in and create a more complex shader later. But right now, I just want to keep everything super simple. So we could start lighting this shot and figure out what it's going to look like. So this is our color. Roughness, normal, and metallic. This needs to be set to linear. That's fine. This just wants to be virtual linear color. There you go. Do you have to set turn off sRGB on the metallic as well?
Yeah, I do.
You do, right?
Yeah.
So let's turn that off here. And virtual linear color. And let's do the mask now. Shaman mask roughness. Let's set that to linear color. And again, you have to set this to virtual linear color. All right, so let's close that up. So that's looking pretty cool, but you can't see a fucking thing. So let's make him look cooler. So we'll do a spotlight. Let's rotate this down. So he's going to need to have his own little beauty light to make him look like the evil bastard we want him to look like. He's not an evil guy, but we want him to look evil. Okay, so we'll just shift this over here. So light him from above. I'm going to bring down the attenuation. So we just kind of have it fall off like that. That's kind of cool. We'll set this to be more blue because the light is coming from the moon, even though the moon is not blue, but it doesn't matter. Let's bring up the attenuation. Okay, cool. Let's grab that light and immediately throw it into our sequencer and convert to spawnable. This light is just for this shot. We might use it again later, but for now, I just want to make sure that we're being a little bit more selective. Okay, so this is going to be a rim light for him. Put this over here. So I try to always do 3-point lighting. And I'll just crank up the intensity of this light for now. Okay. I don't want it to be blue. I want this to be orange. I'm going to bring down the attenuation radius. Something like that. Let's tone down the volumetric influence. Duplicate him. So I believe you should just light everything from the back. Makes them more interesting. Okay. This light is a little too strong for sure, so we'll tone that down. Tone this one down quite a bit. All right, let's take a look at it in the shot. Okay, so what is not working here? We want to make sure that his silhouette reads really clear. And right now it's not fully clear. There's too much stuff happening back there. So got to try to figure out how to fix that. So problem is if I add too much fog, it might come at the expense of the giant leopard. And I don't want that. And I mean at the expense where it could just start getting a little washed out like this area here. So first, let's just try to increase our backlight. That way we're making sure that silhouette reads clearly. Okay. I wish there was a little bit more influence back there. Let's see. So this light here, I need to make sure that the volumetrics are not visible here. And what I might do is totally a cheat. I might bring this light down and rotate it up towards us like this, which of course would be impossible because how the hell would there be a light directly behind him unless there was electricity? It would be that strong, I mean. And let's come back over here. What would happen if I brought up the volumetric intensity here? Let's go to our spotlight. I'm going to push this back. Okay. What if I turn that more orange? And what if I brought down the intensity? So let's turn that on and off. Kind of like it. Kind of like it. So let's save everything. Let's play that again. So pretty cool. I like that. Let's grab these lights here. So that was that one, that one, that one, and that one. And we'll select our Shaman here. Let's drag all of that into our sequencer. We convert all of that to spawnable. That way it's not in every other shot. This guy's walking into frame nicely. Cool. So we don't have animation on this, on the Shaman yet. It's going to make a huge difference because he's like raising his hand in a really freaking cool way. I'll show you. I just don't have the clothing sim, so it's not going to look very cool. But show you anyway. You could see what the motion will be like, and you got to picture like the drapes and everything, and so it'll look pretty freaking cool with all the fabric simming. We have to shop model the shoulders here, but yeah, he's at a Leonard Skinner concert right there. So, all right, so let's get him into another shot here. So let's see what he looks like in the kneeling. So the monk is gone here. That sucks. Paste him into place. Drag him into our sequencer. Convert to spawnable. Okay, so you could see the lighting that worked so well on the previous shot doesn't work at all here. So first thing we'll do is we'll just get rid of that backlight. It works great for the other shot, but not here. Here we want this. I kind of want some like light coming up. So let's just take a look and see. What we might be able to do to cheat, it's going to be a cheat, but because there's fire coming from the front here, maybe what we can do, let's do a split screen here. I'm going to create a light spotlight right there. And these will kind of represent the big fire. Let's just drag this out like so. And I'm always going to light my first light will always be the side that is not facing the camera. So let's bring up the light intensity here. Let's bring up our attenuation radius. Okay. I'm going to set the color to be the fire color. Maybe desaturate it a little bit. Okay. And then I'll just go into my light functions. And I'll throw in that light function material to give it a flicker. And I'll bring up the brightness. So you can see it's adding like a breakup to it, but I'm not sure if... Oh, actually, you know what? I put the wrong light function on there. I need to put the light flicker. I put the tree one. So I apologize. So this is our flicker light. It's going really slow because I have so many things open. So let's just try to close some of this stuff. So let's low let's rotate around and get the light in position. I'll angle this up. So I'm totally cheating. That's what I love about theatrical lighting is you could just kind of do whatever the hell you want. So I don't know how I feel about that. I'm going to turn this light off for a second. And let's like look at some of these other ones. So this one here, oh, I definitely need that one. And then this one here. All right. So I love this one, but I think for this shot, I have to wrap it around the side more and wrap it to the front some more. Something more like that. Let's bring up our attenuation radius. Way too far. All right, let's take a look and see. So it's going to need more work. The animation is going to play such a huge role in this. But I think what I'm struggling with is I don't want to overlight him, but I also can't use like a light source in the front. I need to illuminate a little bit more in the front, but I don't want to throw like a light source right in the front. So I need to figure that out. Let me turn this one light back on. Didn't work. I think it does work a little bit better with it on. My scene is just dying. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm doing the stream and it just goes really slow. So let's do that and rotate this guy. I'll bring down the intensity. I'm going to bring down the attenuation radius dramatically here. I don't want him to illuminate the background, just pick him up. Okay, let's make sure we do that same thing here. This attenuation radius is crazy long. All right, so let's grab spotlight 20 and 21, drag them in there, convert to spawnable. Let's make sure that both of these lights have zero volumetric influence. They currently are set to 1. So I don't want a bunch of like visible volumetric cones everywhere. So let's do that. File, save as, save all. So again, he's not animated, which is going to make all the difference in the world. It would be cool if he has like a few like assistants also wearing like some creepy shit too, like maybe not the leopards, but they're wearing like a zebra thing or something. Or they're the lesser. Um, that looks pretty sweet. Let's hide that gizmo. She obviously doesn't have clothes yet. She's not simulated, but we'll put that in there. I need an A6000 GPU. Yes, I do. Yes, I take donations. So if you want to send me one of those, you could definitely send it. I like to sequence the most really nice lighting. Yeah, I do too. We light better when we're lighting theatrical. The outdoor stuff we're definitely struggling with. Um, it reminds me a lot of the cave from the Lost Boys. Well, that's good because I love the Lost Boys. So, and I want to learn to play the saxophone like that guy. Reduce percentage screen. Yeah, reducing the percentage of screen helps. I need to do that. Would a mysterious contrast light spotlight? Well, he does have a like a spotlight on him. So we have this one here, which this one. Wait, where the hell is this light coming from? Let me see. I might have. Okay, so I have this light here. Where the hell is my top light? I do have a light over him. This one here. Oh, maybe I didn't bring it in on this one. So that is a possibility. Let's try it real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. So we'll go to lighting. Let's do a spotlight. Rotate him down. Bring him up. So a light straight down from above. We only want it to hit him and not the floor. So we'll reduce our cone angle. Let's bring up our intensity. Ooh, that looks pretty cool. Let's tint it a little bit bluer since it's like a moonlight. We got to get rid of the volumetric cone. So we'll just bring down our volumetric intensity so you can see we don't see the light source itself. Although honestly, I could just bring this up a little bit on this shot. Bring up that volumetric cone. Might actually look cool for this shot. Let's turn on our cast volumetric shadows. We'll bring this up some more because I just don't want the cone shape to be that noticeable. Let's go to our attenuation radius and just have it die out right as it's touching the floor. So let's compare it. Let's bring that down. So I am going to kill the volumetrics. I don't think they're worth it. Turn off cast volumetric shadows. I do like this light on him right there. I think that looks pretty good. Let's throw that into our sequencer. Convert to spawnable. This light here. Convert to spawnable. So let me see what all these lights were. So this one was that, okay. This one was that, okay. Okay. Our backlights, our rim lights. This one, I don't know what the hell that is. So let's get rid of that. Get rid of it in our sequencer as well. So she walks in. There's our evil bastard. She ducks down. Okay. I want her silhouette to read better. So let's fix that. So I could see that I had put a light there to illuminate her better. Let's go to volumetrics here and just try something. I bring up the volumetric intensity here. Maybe what I could do is this. I could blame it on the fire. If I rotate this out of the way, rotate this way. So we're just trying to get things to read. How do you get, basically, to me, lighting is making all the shapes read clearly without making it too bright. That's, to me, good cinematography. How do you get clarity with as little lights as possible? And I mean as little lights as in brightness, not as in the amount of individual lights. Okay, so now let's bring this down to something like that. So now we could blame that on the fire. Okay, that makes sense. We could rotate this up a little bit like so. Let's turn that on and off. And you can see her silhouette reads much better now. We need to have a little bit more around the butt area. So I'm going to over crank it for a second, just so I could fine tune it. So now I could see the fog a little bit better. And I'll think, okay, cool. Now that I have it like that, I'll bring this down like so. Let's rotate this away from her. Let's turn that on and off. I kind of wish it wasn't affecting the stairs as much. So let's try a different way. Push that in. Bring it up. Let's adjust that cone angle so we can control its position a little bit better. Let's desaturate it a little bit. Huh. Let's turn that on and off. You see there, the shape of her body gets completely lost. Here, it reads a little bit better. We're still going to have to adjust it, but for now, that'll have to do. So let's just take a look and see. So that doesn't work there at all in the beginning. So we do have to fix that so it works like it's coming from the fire. So we'll have to keep messing with this. Here, that works much better. She's not going to be as dark once she has the clothing, so that'll help out. I like how he looks. He looks creepy as hell, so that's great. Let's see what light this was here. So that's an unrelated light. So I'm just going to go to File, Save All. Let's go back here and just take a look at what we have. So this still has her in it, but her kneeling. So we could put the priest in there, but probably out of time. So we'll continue next week. We'll have him animated, and I want to try to be done with this sequence by next week. So yeah, that's it for this week. Okay, let me see if I have some questions. If I have some questions here. Maybe a purple front with high fall off. Purple. There's no purple here, so it has to look like it's coming from fire. If you have Patreon, I would follow 1000%. Please make one if you have time. I would love to have a Patreon so I could have money. So that would be awesome. I may consider it. Or when animating the shaman, he could step into the light beam. Yes, he will definitely do that. So if you look at all of these shots, and I'm sorry to play this edit a million times, but that's just what you have to do. Like I've played this thing so many times. I play this so much that's why I decided to do all the facial animation stuff myself. So when you look at like some of this stuff here, when they're talking, oh, actually, I can show this that I hadn't shown before. So our anteater is now done. We're still doing a little bit of animation tweaks on his toes, but you can see how he's coming out. So the idea was that he looks like a stylized kind of teddy bear.
Ni mawindo yangu, ulichelewa tena. Hebu nionyeshe.
So you can see the poor little guy. But anyway, so I've played this edit so many times that when I had to go do the motion capture for the mouths in Swahili, even though I don't speak a lick of Swahili, I know this dialogue so much from hearing the edit over and over and over and over and over and over that that I just did all the motion capture myself. So I already know the dialogue. So, but anyway, so let's play the ceremony one more time, just so we could take a look at it. You guys can hear the music, right? When I play the edit. What is this message?
You can try playing it.
Yes, okay. So you can see like her walking into the light is something that I do a lot. Guys walking into the shot there. So boom. So next week we'll have our shaman / priest, evil bastard, and yeah, that's it. Still super happy with this shot. We need the paint variations, but it just looks so freaking creepy. It has a stop motion-y feel to it, which I really love. Um, yeah, so that's it. But the best part is that's one of the few shots. All the men are me in motion capture suits, and then all the women are actresses. But so that's me. If anybody needs a really handsome guy for their movie. Uh, all right, guys. So let me see a slightly broader question. What are your plans with this short? Are you thinking about developing beyond the short? So good question. What are our plans? So the true story behind this short is this was a very small section in a feature film that had nothing to do with this story directly. It was a live action film about a girl that happens to be a comic book artist. And it's like a very much a 70s kind of revenge film. Uh, this story is the comic book that she wrote. So it's supposed to be super short, and throughout the film you see her drawing this story, and this is the story. So when Gnomon gave us the opportunity to come up with a short, we were like, let's just do this story as the story that the girl is writing, and let's just develop that. So it would all be a comic book in the movie, but we wanted the film to start with the animation sequence to show where she gets her ideas from, almost like if it's in her dreams. So we do want something bigger, but not this story. This story ends, the story of the two sisters ends very horribly for them. So there is no part two here. We would love to keep doing stories like this where this one is in Swahili. It takes place like in a fictitious Africa. But I love the idea of one in Vietnam, one in, Brazil or wherever, all in different languages, all with different cultures, all fucked up endings. That would be like my dream. And doing it in Unreal, we just have to see. We're really exhausted after this one. So yeah, we're getting burnt out doing it just the two of us. We do have help on this, but 90% of it is us carrying the water, so we're getting exhausted. But yeah, thanks everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in, and yeah, we'll see you guys around. Let me find this. If you guys want to follow any more of us, follow our work, just check us out here, and so Alexander started watching it. Cool. I'm glad you like it. We're doing something different, I think, from a lot of other people's stuff. We're not doing tutorials. It is like making an entire short film, and I think it's very niche at first. But ideally, what I believe is once we're done with the whole short, people will probably enjoy the whole thing as a whole much more, because they'll be like, oh, this did turn out cool. Let's see how they did it. And we really are going through the whole freaking process. It's not fun. It's not exciting. It's not. It's the reality of what this industry is. It's a lot of hard work, and yeah. Well, that's it. That's all there is to it. So, thank you guys. Thank you, and we'll see you guys around. And